Hi, my name's Ashley.
I'm Christy.
Hi, Christy. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So welcome. We'll have about 10 minutes to discuss anything you want to today. I just wanted to go over a few things before we start. So everything that you tell me is confidential. However, I am a mandated reporter, which means that if you tell me about any kind of abuse of a child, or if you have any plans to harm yourself or someone else, I am mandated to report that. But everything else will stay between me and you. They say here. So is that clear? Is there anything unclear about that?
No, I think I understand.
Okay, good deal. So what brings you in today?
Well, I started graduate school
Congratulations.
Thank you. In August, like late August. And I am feeling some guilt around my ability to participate in grad school fully and fully, take care of all of my duties as a mother. Like, I feel like maybe I might be neglecting my role as a mother in order to do well in graduate school.
And so what do you feel neglect means to you?
Just I cannot take care of every single one of my child's need. I want to say needs, but it's probably wants some of the time as well. But I can't go to all the field trips anymore. I can't take my son to school early or pick him up late whenever he wants. I can't be fully involved in all of his after-school activities like I used to be. So yeah, I feel like I'm not fulfilling my role as a mother because I've taken on grad school while my kids are still young.
And so if you had to name this expectation, what would you name it? Just motherhood, or is it above and beyond motherhood?
No, I would call it motherhood. So I had left a full-time job in order to work part-time in the middle of the night so I could be home with my kids. So I have a 4-year-old who I stay home with during the day full-time, and then I was available all the time for my older son who was in middle school to be, if he didn't want to take the bus that day, I could take him. If he wanted to go in early for a club, I could be there. I could volunteer at all the field trips, and I was just really involved. And now I don't feel as involved because I made the choice to go to grad school, not my kids, and so I don't really feel like they should be affected by me making a personal choice.
So quite a big adjustment.
Yes.
In their schedules and yours.
Mm-hmm. They have to depend on a lot of other people instead of just being able to depend on me and they're not always going to get exactly what they're used to because they have to be dependent on other people.
Right, instead of 100% on you.
Yes.
And are the people that they are increasingly dependent on people you trust, people that they trust?
Yes. I mean, it's other family members, so I know it's people that love them and care about them, but still not the same as being the one. Right. Nobody can take care of your children like you can. It's kind of how I feel about it. Like, nobody's ever going to care for them the way their mother cares for them.
Of course. And so what other obstacles do you think might be preventing you from thinking that the situation as it is right now is okay, with relying on family members to fill the gaps for this short time frame?
I think it's just my own feelings. Every once in a while, like, my son will make a comment or some noises in regards to, like, not always getting exactly what he's used to getting from me.
How have you navigated that?
I'm not sure I've navigated it very. I mean, I pretty much ignore it. I'm just like, like, I'm in school, and so, like, if you want to do that, these are your options because I can't be there. So you can do A, B, or C, or you can ride your bike.
So you're giving him options, to work ahead, to plan ahead.
Yes.
Around school,
yeah.
but perhaps family dynamic hasn't caught up to the adjustment in that way.
My 12-year-old, so my 4-year-old, I don't think he notices as much. Like, I think I feel guilt about it. But as far as it affecting him, I'm not sure he notices as much as my 12-year-old. Where my 12-year-old is more, he has a lot more responsibility now. So, like, there are days where he has to get himself to the bus stop and there's no adult home, or, he hasn't done it yet, but, like, he always has the option to ride his bike to school if he wants to go early or stay late. Then he needs to ride his bike, but he won't choose to do that. He has to plan ahead and really, like, focus on his organizational skills and planning skills. And so my being in grad school has really forced him to have to be more independent and responsible and take on more. I guess I feel guilty because I feel like he has to take on more of an adult role versus just being a middle schooler. Like, I was able to go on a field trip recently, and he's like, "Oh, look, so and so has homemade bread. His mom makes bread from scratch." I'm just like, "Yeah, well, you have a Subway sandwich, okay? So eat it. Be quiet."
Have you ever made him homemade bread in the past?
Yeah, actually, I have.
So it's a specific thing he's saying.
Yeah.
Do you think that any part of this shift in the family dynamic might be good for him in the long run, or might help develop skills that'll be helpful in adulthood, or as independence grows?
Yeah, I definitely think that the skills he's learning will be helpful. It doesn't take away the guilt around it, though. Like, I still have a lot of guilt, and I feel like maybe I overcompensate when I can spend time with them by just, like, taking them to do really fun. Well, it shows up in two ways. I either, like, overcompensate by doing, like, these extravagant, like, activities with them that I wouldn't normally do, or, like, I'm tired, I'm just like, whatever, let's just stay home in our pajamas and watch movies all day and eat junk food.
Right. Okay.
Which I wouldn't normally do either.
Okay. So are either of these responses, do you ever feel less guilt when you take one of these paths?
I think when I'm spending time with my kid, regardless of what we're doing, yeah, I'm not feeling guilty in that moment. Yeah.
So that's good. I mean, it seems like you have a few different approaches, right, that kind of address this and seem to make up for lost time. And so, do you know where this feeling of guilt is rooted, is coming from? If you had to explore that.
In my family, we call it Catholic guilt.
Okay.
So I grew up in a very Catholic household. I went to Catholic school. I have relatives who are nuns or were nuns, and I think just growing up in a Catholic family, I mean, guilt is talked about a lot, and usually parent figures tend to make their children feel guilty in order to get them to comply with certain things or behave a certain way. I think it's definitely very common practice to use guilt in order to prevent, don't do this because you're going to go to hell.
Right.
Like, you don't want to be the bad kid. You don't want to go to hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're not doing that with your kids, right?
No.
So it seems that you're breaking at least part of the cycle.
I'm hoping so. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe just the last frontier of the Catholic guilt would be being a little bit easier on yourself, giving yourself permission to do this education, which ultimately might really benefit your kids in the long run. It's a short time at grad school, right?
Yeah, 2 years.
It's 2 years. It's a blip.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
I mean, small things to see. But it sounds like you are a very capable mom. It sounds like you care tremendously for your kids, and you've already sort of taken a stance against the guilt cycle by not using guilt as a tool with them.
Right.
So it seems like you're on your way to moving away from this. this, just as a standard.
Then what does it say about me? Like, if I decide to be easier on myself and like let the guilt go.
Well, you've been hard on yourself all your life, so maybe you should be nice to yourself and see what happens. That was a quote I heard today.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
It's just something that I think is helpful to remember sometimes when you say, well, what if I am easier on myself?
Yeah.
Well, what if? We
What
could
if?
explore that. If you wanted to set up another appointment, we could talk about what that path might look like, what it might be.
Yeah. No, I think that
Good
would be.
things
I think that would be
or bad
really
things.
helpful.
Yeah. But yeah, so we're coming to an end. Was there any final thoughts you just wanted to share?
No, just exploring that what if.
Yeah.
I think it would be helpful.
I think it's a lot less scary to follow one of those thoughts all the way to the end of the road than to let it badger us.
Thank you.
Yeah. Nice to meet you.
Nice to
Christy.
meet you too.